Shalom. I'll start off by giving all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rachal Kadash. I want to say double honors to our apostles slash elders who rule well. Blessed salutations to you brothers out there teaching and enduring truth and sincerity. Uh, you know, I wanted to go over this lesson real quick. That was something I was reading. I came across while getting my studies of the Maccabees after the apostle did a beautiful video on dealing with the Jews and the Edomites fighting side by side, proving that Esau or the Edomites wouldn't destroyed, and that there's no more Edomites. But that's a different subject, of course. It led me to get into the Hasmonean dynasty, which is something very interesting. From what I'm looking at and going through the scriptures, is just going over the fact that this is the time, during the Maccabean revolt. The results of it gave Israel a bit of control after the Seleucid Empire with Antiochus Epiphanes attempting to destroy land of Israel. You see, you got the Judea after the Hasmonean revolt, all the way to Alexander. You can read about him in Maccabees, Hyrcanus, Simon, Jonathan. So it shows the result of control that was slowly gaining during the revolt in particular. Okay, so I want to read this here. It says the Hasmonean dynasty was a ruling dynasty of Judea and surrounding regions during classical antiquity between 140 and 116 BCE. You said before the Common Era. And it says the dynasty ruled Judea semi autonomously from the Seleucids. That was during, Salaki, I just read on. It says 110 BCE with the Seleucid Empire disintegrating, the dynasty became fully independent, expanding into the regions of Samaria, Galilee, Iturea, Perea, and Idumea. And it took the little title Basileus. It's a Greek, and Basileus is a Greek term and title that has significant various types of monarchs in history and in English-speaking worlds. It is perhaps widely understood to mean king or emperor. The title was used by sovereigns and persons of authority in ancient Greece and the Byzantine Empire. Emperors, it's like it. So, which shows that the Hasmonean dynasty took the title of Basileus, which is a title for king or emperor, showing that Israelites was ruling during the Byzantine Empire too, because it's the connection with that title. But that's neither here nor there. Definitely gonna get into that. It says some modern scholars refer to this period as an independent kingdom of Israel. The dynasty was established under leadership of Simon Thasi 2 decades after his brother Judas Maccabeus. Because right now I went from Mattathias to Judas Maccabeus, and this is the successor of Judas was Simon. He's the second son of Mattathias, and thus a member of the Hasmonean family. The name Thasi has a connotation of the wise, a title that can also mean the director, the guide, the man of counsel, and the zealous, and it can mean king too. Esau give you something and he'll take it away. 2 decades after brother Judas Maccabeus defeated the Seleucid army during the Maccabean revolt, which was very, very devastating because Antiochus lost 2 wars. He lost a war and then came to sack the temple to get money, and because he was salty. And then you had the Jews doing what they were doing, so he automatically, because he lost that battle in Egypt, and he automatically came back and ultimately lost to Judas Maccabeus also. Okay, it says according to First Maccabees, Second Maccabees, and the first book of the Jewish War by historian Flavius Josephus, Antiochus IV, Epiphanes, moved and asserted strict control over the Seleucid satrapy of Coele and Phoenicia after his successful invasion of the Ptolemaic Egypt was turned back by the intervention of the Roman Republic. See right there. So he was turned back. So Rome turned him back. He was salty about that, and he took it out on Jake. So he sacked Jerusalem and his temple, suppressing Jewish and Samaritan religious and cultural observations, imposed Hellenistic practices, and ensuing revolt by the Jews. So Slakia says imposed Hellenistic practices. These Hellenistic practices, I want to see what they got here. It is the historical spread of ancient Greek culture, religion, and to a lesser extent, language over foreign people conquered by Greeks or brought into the sphere of influence, particularly during the Hellenistic period following the campaigns of Alexander the Great in the 4th century. So these Hellenistic practices it's not just languages. Okay, they were serving their gods. There was under Zeus and all that, which is a common thing. Um, and that's what people get confused about ancient Israel and the Israel of Yahweh Shai's era is that they didn't want to they didn't understand that the rule of Rome was over Israel at that point in time, even though Israel had their own state. But remember that the Hasmonean dynasty ended, I think it's around 37 BCE. Um, really like what I've read is like 40, around 40 and 30 BCE, and that's when the Herodian dynasty came in, ending the revolt. But I mean, not revolt, but ending the Hasmonean dynasty, and they officially was under Roman rule. Then when you go into the time of Yahweh Shai, you hear Pontius Pilate being the Senate, but then they say that Caesar, we have no king but Caesar. At that time, I believe it was Augustus and Alexander. I could be wrong. No, Augustus is there for sure. During the time of Yahweh Shai's existence, um, first existence, I would say, in the flesh, right? So, as Yahweh Shai, I don't want to go down a rabbit hole, but brothers know what I'm talking about. Um, so that basically that transition showed how the Romans had rule over that dynasty. You know what I'm saying? And well, it wasn't a dynasty anymore because it ended. Okay, so I just wanted to go into that because people, couldn't understand the fact that what Rome's position was, what Pilate's position was, what Yahweh Shai's or really Herod's position was. Okay, because Herod was still a king over that sovereign, so-called at first it was sovereign, but then Herod the Great was set up over it, and it's gonna get into that, and then Pilate was over Herod, and then the current Caesar, the ruling Caesar, was over that Senate. Oh, okay. I could be saying it wrong by saying Senate, but I believe it was Roman Senate. So until says Antiochus IV, which is Epiphanes, moved and asserted strict control of Seleucid satrapy of Coele and Phoenicia. After this successful invasion of the Ptolemaic Egypt was turned back by the intervention of the Roman Republic, he sacked Jerusalem and its temple, suppressing Jewish and Samaritan religions and cultural observations, and imposed Hellenistic practices. Basically, he had them sacrificing them to Roman gods with pork. Okay. The ensuing revolt by the Jews, 167, began a period of Jewish independence, potential by the steady collapse of the Seleucid Empire under attack from rising powers from Roman Republic and the Parthian Empire. It says the Parthian Empire, also known as the Arsacidic Empire, was a major Iranian political and cultural power in ancient Iran. Its latter names comes from Arsaces the first of Parthia, who, as a leader of the Parni tribe, founded in the mid third century BC, when he conquered the region of Parthia in the Iran's northeast. All right, so this is you know, I get it mixed up. I don't want to say it's either Ishmael, Elam. I don't, they're Persians. You can say that. So get that, under wraps. Salaki for messing that up. I can. It says in 63 BCE, the kingdom was invaded by the Roman Republic, broken up and set up as a Roman client state. However, the same power vacuum that enabled Jewish state to be recognized as a Roman state was later exploited by the Romans themselves. Hyrcanus and Aristobulus, Simon's great-grandson, became pawns in a proxy war between Julius Caesar and Pompey the Great. The deaths of Pompey 48 BCE and Caesar 44 BCE and the related Roman civil wars temporarily relaxed Rome's grip on the Hasmonean kingdom, allowing a brief reassertion of autonomy back into the Parthian Empire. The short independence was rapidly crushed by the Romans under Mark Antony and Octavian. All right, which couldn't have been that long because Mark Antony and Julius Caesar were buddies. It says the dynasty had survived over 103 years before yielding to what? The Herodian dynasty. All right, so the Herodian dynasty was a royal dynasty of what? Idumean. Then they tell you, because this is the real reason why I want to do this lesson, is it says the Herodian dynasty was a royal dynasty of Idumean Edomite descent, ruling the Herodian kingdom and later the Herodian uh, tetrarchy as vassal of the Roman Empire. The Herodian dynasty began with Herod the Great, who assumed the throne of Judea with Roman support. Okay, so, and it goes into it more in 37 BCE, the installation of who? Herod the Great, and Idumean, right? Um, and it tells you Idumean was Edom, was an ancient kingdom in Transjordan, extended between Moab to the northeast and Araba to the west, and the Arabian Desert to the south and east. Most of its former territory is now invaded between Israel and Jordan. Edom appears in written sources relating to the late Bronze Age. Edom was right south of the land of Israel. Okay, as king in 37 BCE, made Judea a Roman client. So Herod basically got rid of the Hasmonean dynasty by making ensuring that it was under Roman rule. Okay, it says and marked the end of the Hasmonean dynasty. Even then, Herod tried to bolster the legitimacy of his reign by marrying the princess uh, sis Miriam, but also called Miriam, or the Hasmonean, was the Hasmonean princess and great Slakia, and the second wife of Herod the Great. She was known for her great beauty, and was her brother Aristobulus III, Herod's fear of his, and was her brother Aristobulus III's Herod's fear of his rival, the Hasmoneans, led him to execute all of the prominent. So basically, he's going to go into it. This is the last descendant of the Maccabees, okay? But she's a female, okay? Says in planning to drown the last male Hasmonean heir at his Jericho palace in 6 CE, Rome joined Judea proper, Samaria and Idumea into the Roman province of I would say Judea, Iuda in 44 CE. Rome a installed the rule of procurer side by side with the rule of the Herodian kings, specifically Agrippa and Agrippa II. See, they had them ruling side by side. Basically watching over. That's why they took him to Pilate, and you know, um, you know, of course he went through Herod or whoever Herod was ruling at that point in time. So it shows you that Herod the Great was an Idumean. You go to Idumean, that's Edom. He was an Edomite, and basically when he sat up on the throne, he married uh, Miriam to basically say to make himself a half Israelite or something like that, to say he got Israelite blood in him. You know, so that's why people say, oh, he was an Israelite and this and that. It's like, nah, man. You got to deal with it. You got to deal with it. For what it is. So that's all I wanted to put out there, proving that they this further proves that they were Edomites. After that period of time, after that revolt, you know, and they wouldn't done away with. You know, uh, so that's pretty much all I wanted to get, man. I'm about to get back to these studies. And I want to call hello, y'all, Bashim Al Shai, Bashim Al Kadash, Brakatah, double honors to our apostles, slash elders who rule well, and blessed sight to you, brothers out there teaching.